Taak and Tourism. It's been a while since our last episode, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for this special one-off feature. If you caught us during our sustainability season, you'll remember the incredible conversations we had about conservation and all the unique aspects that make Belize so special. And of course, Morgan, our amazing Miss Earth, did a fantastic job hosting those insightful discussions. Today, we're mixing things up a bit. I'm Sitna Belize, and I'm honored to be your host for this episode. We have an exciting guest lined up and so much to talk about. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and let's dive right in. As you guys know, Belize is our whole vibe. The culture, the people, the natural wonders, it's all rolled into one amazing experience. And today, we've got someone who totally embodies all of that. She's not just a beauty queen, she's a true powerhouse, a health advocate, a leader, and someone who's been representing Belize both here, at home, and on the global stage. Please give it up for Miss Universe Belize, Halima Hoy. Hey Halima, it's so good to have you here joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me. It's so lovely to join you guys today to talk about my journey and also to share all the reasons why I love Belize.
So let's dive in, right? We've got so much to talk about, from your Miss Universe journey to all the incredible things you're doing here in Belize. But let's kick things off with something fun. Imagine you're meeting someone new for the first time and they ask, who's Halima Hoy? Not the Miss Universe Halima, but just, who is Halima? How would you respond to that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so used to giving the Miss Universe answer, but let me be real for a second here. So Halima Hoy is just this down-to-earth girl who grew up on the south side of Belize City. I have developed an appreciation for the simple things in life. You know, I love dancing. I love having a good time with my friends and my family. I really love to spend time just chilling at home with my husband and my dog and just watching movies and eating our favorite food. So it's just the simpler things in life that I enjoy. And of course, I can't forget the fact that I'm a health advocate. No matter whether I'm Miss Universe Belize or just Halima Hoy, I'm always advocating for health and wellness and the prevention of non-communicable diseases. So that's a huge part of who I am.
I know. From one of the last activities that we were doing with you, I knew you were prepping for this whole Miss Universe competition, and we've been following you and your entire journey, and we must say that we are very proud of you. You've done an amazing job, and we're so grateful to have you back here in studio with us today, right? So now that we know who you are, I'm curious. Growing up here in Belize City, what were some of the things that shaped you the most? Were there moments or experiences that you think prepared you for where you are today?
Definitely. I think your childhood will always be a part of who you are, whether or not you are aware of it. But I believe that because we grew up with so little, but my family never made me feel like I had little, because we had a lot of love and we had a lot of support. So I grew up, like I said before, appreciating the simple things in life. I remember we used to play with the barrel rim. Yeah. We used to put it on the lamppost and play basketball, or we would find a piece of pallet and just play softball with that. So any little thing that was around was a resource for us. So I really appreciate my humble beginnings, and that shaped the humble queen that I am today, and someone who really sees the bigger picture. And I see Belizeans for who they are. We don't need a lot to be happy. We are fulfilled with just having love and support.
You know, it makes me so happy to hear that, because it definitely takes me back to my own childhood. Yes. And it definitely makes you realize that the childhood that you and I have, it's very unique in a sense. You're playing house, you're playing outside, and it also shows us how different things like that are today, you know? Mm-hmm. But I honestly love hearing stories about people's childhood, because I definitely think that it shapes who we are today. Mm-hmm. So Belize has this amazing way of grounding us while also pushing us to dream big. Speaking of dreaming big, I know Miss Universe, that's just a huge goal. A lot of people may be hesitant to take on a challenge such as that. How would you say that your journey started? Was there this moment where you said, man, I just want to go up for the pageant? Was there somebody who inspired you to do that? Tell us more about that.
It's a very lovely story, because it started when I was just about 8 or 9 years old, and I never realized it at the time, but I was always a big big dreamer. Looking back now, I remember when my mom and I was watching the show and the Miss Universe pageant, and I would sit there and I would be like, oh my gosh, if I could just be as beautiful and as confident as this woman, I would be so happy. And as soon as the show was over, I would put on my sister's heels and I would strut up and down the living room, and I would be like, how did I do? Ma, I look good. Like, you think I could go up for Miss Universe? And of course, she was encouraging. And you don't know how much you speak life into your children when you encourage them. It's the little things that count. And that's exactly where my journey started. And of course, when I got married at 23, that journey ended because they weren't allowing women who were married to participate. And when they took off that restriction and I saw the application, I said, this is my moment. It's either now or never, and I just took that chance, and look where it led me.
Honestly, that's pretty cool. I can honestly say that I see what you're saying about just that parental guidance, that support, and just that continuous upliftment. I also think to some extent, we went to the same high school, and I can honestly say that when it comes to goals or decision making like that, I can genuinely see how even being in that environment, being or going to an all-girl high school, they really just push you as young women to really just strive and aspire, and letting you know that no goal is too big, no challenge is too big for us as women to achieve. So definitely I can see where I even saw a little video that you had shared when you were dancing in your SA shirt and just showing where you started at school, maybe as a young girl, getting upliftment and motivation from your surroundings, your environment, your family, and now even aspiring and pushing towards that goal of being a part of Miss Universe,
You're absolutely right with that one.
Exactly. So taking that leap into Miss Universe is definitely huge, but walking onto that stage in Mexico, repping Belize for the world to see, must have been next level. I know that for a fact. What was that moment like for you, and were there any emotions or thoughts that stood out during that big moment?
Yes, of course. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping through your blood right before you get on stage. And I remember that right before we went on, all the girls started looking at each other and we were like, wow, this is it. This is the end of the road for our journey. And we got teary-eyed. And of course, me being a little crybaby, I was the first one to started breaking and my voice cracked. And I was like, I love you guys. Thank you for this journey. And we started to hug each other and we started to cheer. So that it was a bunch of emotions, and I can tell and I can feel that it was running through all of us, and it was the same experience that we were sharing, and it was a beautiful moment. And we realized in that moment that no matter what happens on that stage, and I'm getting nervous, I'm not emotional talking about it, no matter what happens on that stage, we did it. We made our country proud, and we survived 2.5 weeks of intense preparation, and then we're going to leave it all on the stage. So we encourage each other to just go out there and kill it, and we did. I feel so great about my performance. I feel like I did an incredible job, because honestly I have to give myself the grace. It was a lot of preparation. It was hard. It was mentally and physically taxing, and so I just wanted nothing more than to make Belizeans say, yes girl, yes gal, you may look good on a stage. And when I got that feedback, I was like, okay, good, I'm a winner.
That's really inspiring, and like you said, it's so taxing. It's nerve-wracking at the same time. And I know you're in university, you're a wife, you have your pets at home, you're away from all your comfort, you're in an environment around women from all over the world that you're just meeting for the first time. I know how maybe challenging it can be adjusting to that, and especially as we're following you at home, on social media, I can only imagine what you're going through while you're there. And it just brings us back to our next question, you're mentioning the women that are there. And of course, Miss Universe isn't just about the stage, it's also about connecting with people. What would you say it was like finding common ground with all those women from all over the world? And were there any funny and unexpected moments that you experienced during your journey?
I have a few stories, but to answer the first question, like what it was like being around all these women from all over the world, like naturally, as a Belizean, I gravitated towards the countries that were closer in culture to mine, like the Caribbean countries and some of the Central American countries neighboring Belize. But I had to step out of my comfort zone, and a journey like this is all about getting uncomfortable. I had to talk with women who didn't speak English fluently, and we were struggling to communicate. I had to sit at table with different people from different continents, just so I can get the feel of what it's like to be immersed in this cultural experience. Asking these questions about what type of foods or what's popular in your country. So it was really a learning experience, and it was an opportunity for me to explore, and of course getting a little bit uncomfortable, because that's what it's like to be an advocate. You have to talk to people from all walks of life. So being around them, and then we had a couple funny moments. I remember we were rehearsing, and they had a lot of technical difficulties that day. So the girls, we were just kind of chilling in the back and just kind of lying around and being quirky. You kind of see everybody's personality coming to life, because we're not in pageant mode. We start to get more relaxed around each other. So I was watching the screen, because you can see the playback of our practice. Yeah. So we're behind the scenes watching the screen, standing there, and then I'm like, I haven't worked out in a couple of days. So I started doing squats, like randomly doing squats in my heels. And then the other girls looked at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, I don't care, whatever. I'm going to benefit from this. Next thing you know, another girl comes beside me and starts doing squats. And she's like, how much should I do? And I'm like, let's do 20. We're going to do 4 sets of 20. Then next thing you know, there's like 5 girls doing 4 sets of 20, watching the playback of our practice. And we're just casually like, how was that? Do you think that was a good walk? Do you think I said my country right? Do you think I should use more expression? And we started having this conversation while working out behind stage, and that was like a really fun moment for me, because I was advocating for wellness, and in that moment, in just a small way. So little moments like that really made the experience so much different.
Yeah, and you're a personal trainer too, right? So you were right back in your element, feeling like yourself. Would you say that there's any one country, or maybe two, of with these girls that you feel like you guys really just had a connection, or even after the pageant, you can still say, you know what, this person really left a mark, or I can see us maintaining that friendship?
There's a lot of countries, like we all promised each other that we're going to travel more, and whenever we travel, we're going to contact each other when we're in the neck of the woods. But I would say, not me being the person that was like the person going around being warm and welcoming. I was exploring and talking to a lot of people, but there were a few girls that really stood out as people persons. Like you can tell that this is what they do on a daily basis. They have high energy. They're always like warm, welcoming. It doesn't matter if everybody's tired. They're already like ready to go, ready to socialize. And I'm not that much of a social person, but I was putting myself out there, and it has to be Miss Honduras and Miss Ecuador. They just have that warm aura that you gravitate to, because they're always so positive. And then Miss Brazil as well, she was very like nurturing. She's a mother, and you can feel that when you're around her. She always has like good advice to give. But they were incredible women.
That's really good. So let's bring it back home, right? You've been such an incredible ambassador for Belize, not just on the global stage, of course, but also at home. In your eyes, what would you say makes Belize stand out as a destination, and why do people fall in love with us as a country?
I love that question. What I always say to people when they're asking about Belize as a travel destination is that there's this incredible duality about Belize. We have wildlife for those nature lovers, and we also have the beach vacation for those who want to sip a pina colada in a hammock by the beach and dip into the warm sea whenever they like. And so we have something for every traveler. We also have unique gems hidden across the country. We have the Blue Hole. We have the Maya monuments. So we have a lot of different attractions that kind of pulls people in, because this country is so small, but we're kind of concentrated with a lot of diversity, a lot of unique aspects that pulls travelers in. And what keeps people coming to Belize and what makes people fall in love with Belize is the warm personality of the people. I always get that feedback whenever someone has been to Belize. They said the people were incredible, they were friendly. And I think we invite tourists to come in and to feel like they're a part of our culture. We make them feel like they're at home, and that's what keep them coming back year after year, and of course enjoying their experience here with us.
So we know Belize is packed with beauty and culture, but there's always room to show it off even more. How do you think we can better showcase our culture and natural beauty to travelers from around the world?
So now, you know what I would like to see more of? I would like to see more of local influencers. I'd like to see more people going around Belize, Belizeans of course, and showing tourists how it's done. And they, the best way for us to showcase anything these days is by using social media as a platform. And if we have Belizeans going from north to south, showing the gems, the restaurants, the resorts that we have hidden across Belize, and showing tourists how they can vacation in Belize as a Belizean traveler.
So honestly, Halima, I really love that you mentioned like local travels and Belizean taking on more of that influencer kind of like personality, because especially for me, like one of my roles here is the fact that we really push and promote the Belizean traveler experience, right? So now that we're bringing that conversation now to like a local perspective, we all know how amazing it is for visitors, but there's something special about exploring Belize as a Belizean. What's one hidden gem you think everyone needs to visit at least once, and why is it so important for us as Belizeans to get out and experience our own culture and nature?
So I recently discovered this gem. It's Saltwater Key.
Yeah.
I went there for a photo shoot, and the waters were crystal clear, warm. The sand was nice and white. The skies were blue and open, and I love the fact that that island is sustainable, environmentally sustainable, and we have the barrier reef. There's so much about Belize on that small island, and I believe that's the essence of Belizean traveling. Again, like mentioning this resort type vacation where you're in a hammock with a nice fruited drink and you're just enjoying the natural wonders of Belize. And it's to answer the second question, it's super important for Belizeans to travel and explore their backyards, because you develop, this deeper appreciation for your culture and history. And that's what's super important for us as Belizeans to pass down to generations to come. Once we learn more about our country, because of course traveling is a learning experience, we're able to pass that down to our children and our grandchildren and encourage them, and they encourage others. So it's just like that tradition of love and appreciation for your country.
Yeah. As you know, it's not just about seeing and visiting these places, right? It's also about how we as Belizeans carry that pride in who we are.
Yes.
How would you say civic pride plays a role in shaping Belize's image as a destination?
Well, civic pride is important because if you don't appreciate your own country, what will make others appreciate it, right? You have to lead by example. Like I mentioned earlier, that we are all ambassadors for our country, and the way we treat our country is the way visitors will treat our country. What I like to do when I'm traveling is look at how locals operate. So I'm at a restaurant and I'm watching people. I want to see what the locals are doing, and I want to do what they do. So we are leaders in our own country, and we all have to take up that responsibility. So how we treat our environment, how we treat the people around us will reflect how people will come in and do the same.
So just to switch gears a little, right? We know that tourism is such an important part of Belize's growth, but it comes with its fair share of challenges.
Of course.
From your perspective, Halima, how can we balance tourism growth with protecting our environment and our communities? And what role can visitors play in making a positive impact?
Tourism growth is super important for our young and developing country, and I strongly believe that once we are local travelers and we lead by example, like I mentioned before, then we will have tourists coming in and watching that, and of course following. So we really want them to pay attention to, some of the policies that they have when it comes to sustainability, how they treat our environment when they're using our marine resources and also our terrestrial resources, and of course, abiding by the rules that the resort set forward for them, and additionally, I got to say supporting local businesses to help them sustain their business and, of course, thrive in the competitive environment. So all of those things promote, whenever they see sustainability, whenever they see an opportunity to do so, to take advantage of it, just to kind of help sustain that country. And I believe you can do that everywhere you go. Just a responsible global traveler.
Yeah. And what would you say about our youths? They're such an important part of shaping Belize's future. How can they get involved in promoting Belize and contributing to its sustainable growth?
And when I talked about social media and the importance of social media, youths have a huge part to play because they're the ones who are fully immersed in that digital life. So them being a part of the conversation, having them talk about what they think the future for Belize looks like when it comes to tourism and environmental sustainability, and hearing what they have to say. And of course, we need to create spaces for young people to have that conversation and to be a part of our development, because inevitably they will grow up to be leaders in tourism.
Yeah, of course. And I'll always be an advocate for having youth in these important spaces, because who best to speak or advocate for youth other than a youth itself, you know? So, all right, Halima, we've covered a lot of ground today, as you are aware, but now it's time to have a little fun. I know you mentioned you're excited about this rapid fire section, right? So I'll throw out some quick questions as you're familiar with from the last time we saw each other. And you'll answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Okay. Let me see. I'll have to get laser-like focus for this one. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay, quick question. And this one you should know. What would you say is your favorite dish? Your favorite Belizean dish?
Salbutes.
What's the best weekend spot for a getaway?
Pleasant, yeah.
If you could invite one celebrity to visit Belize, who would it be and why?
This so random, but Kevin Hart. I feel like his personality, like Belizean personality.
I think he would have a good time indeed, right?
So too, yeah.
And finally, what's your go-to activity when you want to feel connected to Belize?
Go to the market. Go to market. Buy seasonal fruits.
Okay, that's good. So Halima, it's been such a joy having you with us today and just hearing about your experience, your insights, and why you love Belize so much.
Thank you, Sitna. It's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk about my most authentic Belizean experiences and, why I love my country so much. Thank you to Taak and Tourism for having me.
Alright folks, that's a wrap for today's episode on Tea Talk and Tourism. Grab your tea, keep talking, and celebrate Belize every chance you get. And for Halima, until next time,
cheers.
See you soon.
Bye.